They say sometimes it isn't the grand gestures, the big confessions, or the glittering spotlight moments that reveal the truth about love. Sometimes, it's the quiet, unspoken things. The things no one expects. The things so small that only the heart understands their meaning. And that is exactly what happened between Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun. It wasn't a staged event. It wasn't part of a drama script. It wasn't even supposed to be seen by the public. But when it happened, fans couldn't stop talking about it. Because in that single small gesture, Lee Min-ho proved to the world, and to Kim Go-eun, that she meant everything to him. It was a chilly evening in Seoul. The streets glittered with neon signs, and the faint breeze hinted at the change of season. Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun had been attending a private industry gathering. It was not a red carpet affair, not a publicized appearance, just a small get-together of actors, directors, and close friends. Naturally, the event was meant to be discreet. But in a world where cameras are everywhere, nothing stays hidden for long. As the evening came to an end, the two slipped out quietly, surrounded by a few staff members. The crowd outside was sparse, but there were still a handful of fans waiting, holding their breath, hoping to catch even the smallest glimpse of their favorite stars. Lee Min-ho walked beside Kim Go-eun, as he often did during public outings. He towered slightly over her, his stride protective yet unassuming. And then it happened. The sidewalk outside was uneven, a tiny dip in the pavement that went almost unnoticed. But Kim Go-eun's heel caught on the edge. For just a second, her balance faltered. Without hesitation, Lee Min-ho's hand reached out. Not dramatically, not for show, but instinctively. He placed his hand gently on her back, steadying her. It was nothing more than a simple gesture. A hand on her back. A quiet act of care. But the look in his eyes as he glanced at her, that was what changed everything. Fans later described it as the kind of look that doesn't need words. The kind of look that speaks louder than the most poetic confessions. It was steady, filled with concern, but also something softer, something undeniably tender. Kim Go-eun smiled faintly in response, brushing it off with grace. She adjusted her step and nodded as if to say, "I'm fine." But those watching noticed something deeper. Her expression softened too, as though warmed by the fact that someone was there to catch her in the smallest of ways. And that was all it took. A small gesture, but one that revealed a truth no script could ever create. The video clip spread quickly online. At first, it was just a short grainy capture uploaded by a fan who had been waiting outside the venue. The fan captioned it simply, "Lee Min-ho being Lee Min-ho. Always looking out for her." But within hours it went viral. Millions of fans replayed those 3 seconds, slowing it down, zooming in, analyzing every detail of his hand on her back, his protective glance, her soft smile. The hashtags began trending immediately. Hashtag one small gesture and hashtag Min-eun forever. On forums, fans debated the meaning of it. Some said it was nothing but instinct, a normal reaction anyone would have. But others insisted it meant more, that it was yet another sign of the quiet, unspoken connection they had been building for years. And isn't that the beauty of it? That love doesn't always need to announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it slips through in the smallest ways. For Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun, this wasn't the first time fans had noticed such moments. There had been the time he held an umbrella for her while ignoring the cameras trained on him. The time he adjusted her microphone gently before a live interview. The way his eyes always seemed to find hers during press conferences, as though drawn by something invisible. But this time it felt different, because it was so natural, so uncalculated, so real. It wasn't a performance. It wasn't a scene from a drama. It was just two people walking together, and one of them instinctively reaching out to protect the other. Insiders later claimed that Kim Go-eun herself was touched by the reaction. Not because of the fan frenzy, not because of the headlines, but because of what it revealed to her. In her world, filled with flashing cameras and constant speculation, trust and sincerity are rare. But in that moment, she saw it, unspoken, undeniable. And for Lee Min-ho, those who knew him said it was simply who he was. Protective, thoughtful, attentive to the people he cares about. But with Kim Go-eun, there was something more. An ease, a gentleness. As if being by her side wasn't just habit, it was where he naturally belonged. Days after the clip went viral, the media outlets couldn't stop writing about it. Headlines ranged from Lee Min-ho's small gesture speaks volumes to fans convinced Kim Go-eun is the one. Editorials praised him for being a gentleman, while fan communities built entire threads analyzing the bond between the two stars. One fan wrote, "It's always the small things. He doesn't need to shout it. He doesn't need to prove it. He just shows it. In moments like this." Another added, "If that's not love, I don't know what is." And perhaps that's why it resonated so deeply. Because in a world full of staged perfection, here was something raw. A fleeting, unguarded second that told a story of its own. Weeks passed, but the gesture remained unforgettable. Every time the two appeared together afterward, fans watched even closer. And each time they spotted something. The way his hand would hover near hers as they walked, the way she leaned slightly toward him without realizing, the way they seemed to exist in their own quiet orbit no matter how loud the world around them was. It became a reminder of a timeless truth. Love isn't always shouted. Sometimes, it's whispered in the smallest of ways. And Lee Min-ho's gesture that night whispered loudly enough for the world to hear. So, what does it all mean? Did that one moment confirm years of rumors? Did it reveal what fans have long believed, that theirs is a bond deeper than co-stars, stronger than friendship, and more lasting than fleeting attraction? No one can say for certain. Not yet. Not until they choose to share it themselves. But what the world saw that night was enough to convince many. Enough to make millions believe that behind the glitter of fame, there is something real. Something simple. Something beautiful. One small gesture. One protective glance. One fleeting second that spoke louder than 1,000 words. And in that second, Lee Min-ho proved to Kim Go-eun, and to everyone watching, that she means everything to him. Because love doesn't always need to be declared. Sometimes it just needs to be shown. And when it is, even the smallest gesture can take your breath away. In the days that followed, something remarkable happened. That small gesture, just a hand on her back, just a protective glance, sparked conversations far beyond fandom spaces. Relationship experts, lifestyle bloggers, even cultural commentators began reflecting on it. They said it was a reminder of how true love is never loud, never performative, but always consistent. Some wrote, "The world is obsessed with grand proposals and cinematic confessions, but the truth is, real relationships thrive on these small, everyday acts of care." That's why what Lee Min-ho did touched so many hearts. It became more than gossip. It became a lesson, a symbol, almost a cultural moment. Because everyone in their own way longed to be cared for like that. To have someone who notices the smallest details, who instinctively reaches out, who protects without needing recognition. For Kim Go-eun, those close to her said the gesture reminded her of something she had always admired in Min-ho. His ability to make the people around him feel safe. And for Min-ho, insiders whispered, it was never about being caught on camera. It was just about her. And isn't that the essence of it? When love is